Hey everybody, this is Coach Loretta here with Trail Run Coach, and I'm here with Coach Reese tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about strength training. So you all might have met Coach Reese the other night, but I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself a little bit briefly and tell us what you're training for.
How's it going? So yeah, my name is Reese. I currently live in Wisconsin, so I'm training for the Kettle Marine 100. My background is in kinesiology, nutritional minor. I've been a personal trainer with the Wisconsin Athletic Club, which is an athletic club around us. I've been coaching a few people online just for their goals, for marathons and whatnot. Currently, I work with ATI Physical Therapy, working in the rehab sciences. So I'm not a physical therapist, but I do work alongside them to execute people's plan of care plans.
Awesome. Thank you. And Coach Reese has also been writing some excellent blogs on strength training. So you can head over to our Trail Run Coach page and you'll be able to find the blog information. And he even has his contact information on there as well. So tonight we're going to talk about strength, which I'm super excited about because I've been reading these blogs and I'm just like, everything he says, I agree wholeheartedly with. It's like spot on. And I just like want more information. So yay.
Awesome. I'm super excited to be here talking with you guys too. So thanks for all the awesome interaction on Facebook. I love talking about this stuff too. So comment, send me a message, whatever. So I'm happy to talk with anybody.
Thank you. I love that. Today we had some really great interaction on Facebook. So thanks for recognizing that. Okay, so first question for you. How do you know, or how do I know when I'm working hard enough, but not too hard?
Okay, so this is a really good question. A lot of people, if they take 30 minutes out of their day to do a workout, they want to maximize that 30 minutes. Like we all know the runner's mentality. If some is good, more is a heck of a lot better, right? Or so we think. So we want to recognize, hey, we have 30 minutes to work out. We want a good workout. We don't want to waste our time, but we also don't want to overblow it. We don't want to push our bodies so much that tomorrow's run is going to be compromised, whether it's a workout or just an easy run, right? We want our strength training to complement our running endurance goals. So getting too sore is no good, but also wasting 30 minutes with something that is way too easy for you should be avoided for sure. So what I like to tell people is think RPE. If one is on a scale of 1 to 10, if an exercise is a 1, that means it's so easy that you can do it right out of bed, no warm up, you don't even have to think about it. Doesn't even phase you. And 10 is like, dude, you're going to put me in the ground. This is way too hard. I'm going to be sore. You kind of want to be at a 6 to 7 intensity. So we want you to feel like you're challenging yourself, but you're not necessarily working all out. So it's kind of hard. And there's definitely going to be a learning curve, right? We want to challenge ourselves and build time with our bodies to understand what is overdoing it and what is not. So the effort level is challenging. It's absolutely doable, but just know that it may take you a couple sessions to find that sweet spot where I have done enough, but I'm not overdoing it. So err on the side of a little bit less. If you wake up the next day and you feel like you could handle another strength session, then maybe you should increase the intensity a little bit. So
okay, I like that. I like that how you added RPE in there, rate of perceived exertion, because we talk about that so much as coaches and helping our athletes to kind of figure out that piece for running. So it's nice to also correlate that with strength training.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go down that rabbit hole a little bit further, you know, like we always say, our tempo runs should be like a 7 out of 10, right? So it's kind of like your workouts. You want to be challenged, but like a fun type of challenge, not I'm burying myself type of challenge. So
all right. Thank you. So I think that, you know, sometimes it's hard as runners to try to prioritize and try to figure out, okay, I only have so many hours in my week, right, to get in all of my training. So when is the best time, if I'm going to put strength training into my training plan, when is the best time to do it? Should I do it before I run? Do I do it after I run? What would be the way to best approach that?
So my short answer is specificity first. We're runners, we're trail runners, we're endurance athletes. So of course our running training is going to take priority over anything else, right? With that being said, following the rules of specificity, we want to make sure if we're going to put a strength training program, we put it on top of our workout days. So that way we can take our easy days easy. So now we've we understand, okay, hard workout on one day, and then in that same day, we're going to do our lifting session. So rule of specificity says, let's do the running in the morning because we want to focus on that. We want to focus on the run, really give that all that we have. Once we give the run all that we have, wait a couple hours, about 6 is preferable. So in the evening time or mid-afternoon time, maybe you come back in for another strength training session. Why is this? We want to give 6 hours just so that way our bodies can recuperate a little bit of energy, so that way we can have a little bit more of an optimal strength training session. So within that, it's optimal to have your workout, your strength training sessions on your run days, but after your run, and preferably a couple hours afterwards.
Awesome. I love that, because that's exactly, what I tell my athletes. Let's keep our easy days easy and our hard days hard, because if you're doing too much hard all the time, your body has no time to recover.
Yeah, exactly. So I always think to myself, if I'm going to make 1 day or 2 days out of the week where, okay, maybe I'm a little sleepy, I also have to get my workouts on top of my work schedule. I don't have a family to take care of or kids, but you have that stress on top of it. So let's just put, like everything that's going to take from our different stress buckets in our lives, put that into 1 day, make sure we get the most out of that 1 day. And then the rest of the days, just let our bodies soak up that stress, soak up that adaptation. So that way we can progress further, because if we keep stressing ourselves consistently every day of the week and we don't let our bodies have that time to recover, then we're not going to be adapting to the stimulus that we're giving. And why train if we're not going to let ourselves adapt,
Right. So what do you say to the person that, is just starting out in their, maybe strength is new for them, right? So they've been running ultra distances and they've been putting in a lot of miles. And now, as a coach, I start building in some strength in there. And I'm asking them to do that on an interval or a tempo day, or maybe a long run day. And I'm tired. Do I still do it if I'm tired, or do I skip that workout?
Okay. So I would say this is super contextually dependent, right? So it depends on the person, depends on their history. I would always tell people a little bit of extra movement is not bad at all. I would say my safe advice would be do your strength training session, but maybe don't use as heavy a weights as you normally would. Maybe what you do is you take that session as a body weight session. Like I just put out the first article about body weight training. So I oftentimes find with a lot of people that you may be tired from running at the beginning portion of the day. Give it a couple hours, your muscles are still kind of tired, but it's more of an active recovery type of workout that you're giving them. You're taking your joints through a range of motion that they don't get addressed when they're running. You're moving your muscles in a different way that they haven't been stressed when you're running, right? So oftentimes people find that they feel better after some good movement at the end of the day. So if somebody is completely new, I would say don't shy away from it, because at the end of the day, an extra little movement is better than no movement at all, right? And to maybe give it a shot, lightweight, take it easy. Again, like we said before, definitely don't feel like you're overstressing yourself. But if you leave that session feeling better than you started, mission accomplished.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's exactly how I feel. Even being somebody who has ran and done strength for a while, there are days when you get done with one of those sessions and you're tired and you really don't want to go back and do another session. But what I find is if I do, I feel amazing afterwards. I never have had regrets of not doing it, but I do have regrets. I'm sorry, I've never had regrets of doing it, but I do sometimes have regrets if I don't do it. So
yeah, absolutely. And that too, like it really depends on somebody's background, right? Like if they're used to lifting weights and using free weights versus if they're not. So some people can go from a long run, a couple hours later, be working with their dumbbells or whatever they're doing. Of course, I would definitely take into consideration other variables like other training variables, run variables, events, how far away they are. So that's where, somebody who's experienced in coaching strength can kind of start to refine people a little bit more in or not a correct direction to go, but a direction that's going to give them the best chances of success come race day.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about when to do your strength training, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but how frequently do you think you should do strength training, and how frequently should you do, let's say, core strength training?
So regular strength training, really any type of strength training is going to be good for your core. So do you mean core as in core specific, like doing crunches, doing like Russian twists, med ball
Yeah,
stuff?
planks,
Okay.
bridges. Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of that type of core, I would say that you can do that as an active warm up or an active cool down from a run. Like that stuff really isn't too neuromuscularly taxing. And by that, I mean, it's not necessarily taxing your brain or your muscles too much. Whereas say if you're doing something a little bit more challenging with weight, maybe body weight exercises that you're not accustomed to, sometimes those can challenge the muscles a little bit more, challenge the brain, make it fatigue out. So maybe you do want to separate that type of lifting and incorporate that 2 to 3 times per week. So I would say core, if you're doing planks, bridges, active warm-up stuff, feel free to throw that in whenever, as long as it's not too challenging for you. But if you're going to lift weights, if you're going to challenge your body at a 7 to 10 RPE again, 2 to 3 times a week, give it a couple days rest, preferably put those on your workout days, and you should be good to go.
Okay. And what about the question that, we often get is, if I do heavy strength or strength, am I going to get too big?
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I always tell people I always ask people, how easy is it to lose weight? And people laugh at me. They go, it's hard to lose weight. Come on. Like we all know that, especially as you get older, right? It's harder for your body to gain muscle mass than it is to lose weight. And I say that because you're not going to all of a sudden wake up one day and get 15 pounds heavier from lifting weights, right? It's always a gradual progression with our bodies. So I always tell people, especially if you're running like us runners do, I'm sure you have athletes that are running 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way up to 90, 100, 110 miles a week. Your body's not going to prioritize keeping an excess amount of muscle mass, even if you're lifting some pretty good size weights. So as long as you're prioritizing your running training and working out 2 to 3 days a week, don't worry about getting too big. Now, you probably are going to put some muscle mass on just by virtue of stimulating and challenging the muscles a little bit. But especially for us trail runners, I believe it's absolutely essential to have a little bit more muscle mass than err on the side of being too lean. For the hormonal regulation, the hormonal balances that come with having a little bit extra muscle mass, but for the feeling good, for the full range of motion type of living that we do as humans, being able to squat up and down in and out of a chair, it's going to be more functional for not just your running life, but also the rest of your life. So since all runners spend most of their lives not running, as much as we love running, we spend most of our lives not running. So let's make our not running life healthier. And that way that'll make our running even better, faster, more productive. Right. So,
right. And who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about definitely feeling good on the trails, feeling good in your PRs, and feeling good in life. So.
Right. Absolutely. So I like that you mentioned functional. Do you want to just maybe talk a little bit about what functional movements, what that means exactly?
Yeah, totally. It's definitely this kind of nebulous, almost like ambiguous term that everybody throws around. But functional can definitely be refined to movements that directly translate to our capabilities as humans. So squatting, hinging, pushing, pulling, carrying things, all of that is functional. If you think about it, sitting in a machine at the gym, right? You have like a leg press machine. It doesn't directly correspond to the ability to squat. And if we've all tried the leg press machine, we know that it's definitely harder to do a goblet squat or a backloaded squat than to just load up the leg press and go at it. So functional just meaning taking weight and your ability to move the weight and adding a little bit of a skill component that's going to relate to your functioning as a human. So when you think about squatting, it's going to help us pick up our kids up and down off the ground. It's going to help us pick things up off the floor. It's going to help us reach into the lower shelf. If we think about carries, it's going to help us carry bags into the house. It's going to help us carry book bags over our shoulders. So functional can be refined to any exercise that's going to strengthen your body's ability to perform necessary daily movements.
Thank you. And I like that because it's something that can help us keep a good quality of life as we age by being able to do functional movements and do them safely, and so that we're not injuring ourselves. So thanks for clarifying that.
Absolutely.
So you know, as trail runners, we're doing a lot of uphills and downhills.
Mhm.
So question of the day, what would be some good things for strengthening ourselves to be prepared for those climbs?
Okay, so for the climbs, I love talking about this because the climbs are definitely an area that just about everybody can make gains in their trail running, because most of our trail runs have a lot of elevation gain, right? So power-based exercises are going to be some of the better movements. Now, of course, you want to build into your power-based exercises after you've done a little bit of muscle strengthening and you get some of your mechanics dialed, and you get into the gym and you start to experiment with some squats or some lunges and stuff like that. But once you have a good base of strength doing those exercises, then you can put that strength exercise to speed. Maybe do some jump squats, maybe do some jump lunges. To answer, she may be listening right now. We had a good question about the TRX, but maybe doing some jump squats where you're also using the TRX bands as assistance. Of course, you know, use your discretion, go for your use your comfort ability as guide when doing any of these. I definitely wouldn't tell somebody to go jumping around if they weren't comfortable jumping in the first place. But yeah, building in some more power exercises is going to directly impact your body's ability to produce force quickly on the ground, so it propels you uphill faster.
Okay. And what about going on the downhills? What's something we can do to strengthen ourselves for downhills?
Okay, so downhills are awesome because downhills are something that I firmly believe, even though they are scary, especially on really steep grades, I firmly believe that everybody has a little wiggle room to increase their downhill skills pretty fast. So your brain's ability to coordinate with your muscles is a learning opportunity, right? So even if we have a lot of muscle mass in our legs, that doesn't mean our brain can access that muscle in a very quick and timely fashion. A lot of times we're running down the trail, we're going downhill, and all of a sudden, oh shoot, we see this rock. It's on our right foot. We don't have that speed to be able to move our foot accordingly. So in that case, in order to train better for downhills, I would work on more foot plyometric or reactive work. So what does that look like? Ladder drills, anything where you're coordinating your movements in a quick fashion, and trying to minimize any mistakes or minimize any wasted movement is going to be critical. We also talked earlier, I'm a huge fan of taping a box on the ground that's 1 foot wide and 1 foot long. So it's like a 1 foot by 1 foot box. You stand in the middle of that box, you do some quick feet like this, and then you have somebody else call out left or right. And when they do, you have to jump out and touch left or jump out and touch right. So it's that type of reactive training that's going to train your brain to think and process information really quickly and then coordinate your body at the snap of a finger. So since you're not necessarily taxing the muscle or waiting for your body to build the muscle fibers, it really comes down to you can make gains really quick just by coordinating your brain with the muscle that you currently have. So it's a really great way to not necessarily put more taxation on the muscles or the body, but just refine your brain's ability to quickly manipulate itself.
Nice. So is that sort of like building muscle memory?
I would say it's not necessarily like building muscle memory. So when we think about muscle memory, we think about the muscle's ability to recognize something that it's done previously. This reactive training is more, you have to make a split-second decision and then enact that split-second decision with your body, right? Because oftentimes we don't see that root until it's right on our toe, and instantly we have to make a decision, otherwise we catch a toe and we fall, you know? So, and definitely falling, scraping a knee, whatever, is going to take a lot more time out of your race or your run than, otherwise not, I suppose. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it muscle memory. I'd say it's speed and accuracy with which you can move your body.
Okay, that's good. So I foresee a video coming up soon of Coach Reese and this box drill. I want to be calling out left, right, just to mess with him a little bit and see how fast he can go. But I think that's a really great tip.
Yeah, so let's get on Facebook and let's have a challenge. If somebody can, if somebody can get me to mess up on one of those box drills, then we'll do a free hour consult.
Ooh, I love it. I think we should do that. So I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah,
and everybody
totally.
that's watching is holding you to that.
Oh, I'm so game. Let's do it.
All right, that sounds good. Have you heard of the old man challenge or the old woman challenge that they throw out on Facebook? I've seen physical
Oh,
therapists doing it, where you
I don't
have
think I
to
have.
put your shoe on your foot without the other foot touching the ground. So you have to
Oh,
just be on one foot, bring your shoe on, put it on, then switch it to the other foot, and you can never, that the foot you're putting your shoe on can't touch the ground.
oh, heck yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really great balance activity. So
Okay.
we had a challenge a little bit a while back where a few people we were doing that. So yeah.
Awesome. The next time I get some slow time at the clinic, I'll do that challenge. I'll post it up.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So you mentioned your training for kettle. And I know you also have a big event coming up. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about your other grand adventure that's going to be in May.
Oh yeah, totally. I'd love to. And hopefully it all goes well. Me and my buddy CJ have been planning for about like 6 months now to go to the Grand Canyon and do the rim to rim to rim crossing. So I'm very excited for that. I'm doing a lot of training for that. And one thing that I like to do with all these projects is really learn about the area that I'm going to be going through. I find that it gives me a more enriched sense of being there. So I've been reading a lot of books on the Havasupai people that are indigenous to the area, as well as just some of the history of the national park. So I can't wait to do that. It's coming up the first or second weekend in May. It's going to be a week-long trip. I always love to do some writings about my experiences too. So I do plan on journaling that and, sharing it with anybody that would like to read. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of training, a lot of miles. I think the past 2 weeks, I averaged about like 90, 100 miles, trying to find a lot of elevation change just to get the quads used to going downhill for such a long time. But yeah, that's going to be before Kettle. And then after Kettle, I'll have the Wasatch out in Utah. So,
okay, awesome. You have some great things coming up. So I kind of had that segue into his rim to rim to rim, just to share that also on May 24th, Coach Reese will be back with me, with Coach Scott, Coach Lindsay, and one of my athletes, Tim Ryan, to talk about rim to rim to rim experiences, because there's so many people that have that desire on their bucket list and are always asking about it and want to learn a little bit of advice and safety and just knowledge. So we're going to be sharing that on the 24th. So I think it's going to be super fun. I think our session might be a little more than a half hour, because I think there's probably going to be a lot to share and we have a lot of people on. So yeah, so that will be fun too. So the other thing, in case you don't know, is we have a page called trailrun.coach, and that's where we offer our coaching services. So Coach Reese is available as a running coach, and of course he has a lot of strength that he's going to be incorporating into your training plan to get you ready for a race day. We have some big races coming up, and now's a really great time to get ready for Hennepin, which is in October. So it would be a good time to sign up with a coach. I usually say that you need at least 4 to 6 months with a coach leading up to a race. It just kind of depends on where you are at with mileage, but that's a good amount of time to be able to go through some training blocks to get you ready. And we also offer consultation. So we have a hour consultation. So if you wanted to sign up with one of our coaches just to get a little information, that's another opportunity as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I really enjoy meeting with Coach Reese. You just have so much energy and passion for the sport. Heck, I'm ready to have you sign me up and coach me. So
yeah, same here. Thank you for having me on, and it's a pleasure doing these. So I enjoyed last week. I enjoyed this week. So yeah, let's keep it going. And thanks again to everybody with the Facebook questions and whatnot. It's a blast answering them and just seeing the light bulbs go off for people and their physical endeavors.
Right. So if anybody has any questions, you can drop it in there. We'll get to those later. The plan is that we're going to start recording these on YouTube Live. So this show is being recorded tonight and will be uploaded to our YouTube page. So if you want to look back at it in the future to remember any of the information that we shared tonight, then you can check there too. But otherwise, it's also will be on our Facebook page. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Happy trails.
Take care, guys.